All right, the countdown continues, and look at that, 33 and 32, same logo, not a typo. Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock, now teammates, competing to be the starting quarterback unless and until the Broncos trade for Aaron Rodgers. Assuming that doesn't happen, does the fact, Chris, that you have Teddy one spot ahead of Drew, is that your indication that Teddy should be the starter?
I favor him more right now. You know, my list is done as right now, right? This is the top 40 quarterbacks as I see it going into the 2021 season. Everybody's on the same team, and this is really my depth chart at the position. That's basically what it is. I got a 40-man depth chart. And, yeah, as I sit here right now, I trust Teddy Bridgewater more than I do Drew Lock. Drew Lock has more potential and big-time talent. There's no doubt about that. And there's a lot to like about Drew Lock. We've talked about it a lot, Mike. I mean, big arm, pretty good athlete. We've seen some moments that I think you and I on Sunday have watched and went, wow, those were some damn good throws and plays and all of that. But he's got a little bit of that Brett Favre gunslinger. I can fit it in there no matter what, no matter how small the hole is. I'm going to be aggressive and do those type of things that he's got to knock out of his game. And that's where Teddy Bridgewater has a great advantage over Drew Lock. You know, Teddy Bridgewater, you know, Mike, is the old phrase of, yeah, he's not going to win you games, but he's not going to lose you any either. Drew Lock, he can lose you some games right now, but he's got the potential to be a guy that can do some extraordinary things and win some football games too. So hopefully all this, hey, met with Peyton Manning in the offseason. He's, I'm sure, watched himself on film a lot and realizes he's just got to change his approach and style a little bit if he wants to survive in the league and be a starter and be a star one day in the league.
Yeah, and look, he's only got 2 years in the NFL.
Yep.
Injuries have been an issue, and this is a situation where the light can come on. But if it's going to come on, it's got to come on soon. This is his chance.
Yes.
They brought in the guy to compete with him. The Aaron Rodgers rumors are continuing to loom, and they'll.
Right.
If there's no trade, and there likely won't be, it's still going to be something that's on the table for next year. If Locke wants this job, if he wants to stay with the Broncos, if he wants to become the guy there, this is the time that he's got to step it up.
Yeah.
And he's got to use that presence of Teddy Bridgewater as the impetus to reach that higher level. You had Drew Lock at 25 last year, Teddy at 29, so they're both down.
Yeah.
And maybe that competition will cause one of them to emerge. I think it's good for the Broncos to have two guys who are so closely matched.
Yes.
Because you assume, you hope, you pray that one of them is going to access a higher level of performance because of that competition.
Definitely. Like so closely matched and have opposite playing styles that I think maybe could wear off on either guy a little bit. Like Teddy Bridgewater, I'd go, he needs to look at Drew Lock and go, can I take some of that over-aggressiveness you have and give it to me to where I could, push the ball down the field and take a few more chances? That's one of the negative things about him at times, but it is Vic Fangio, a defensive coach. They do have a good defense there. Bradley Chubb is, and Von Miller should be back in the fold as that duo this year. Everything looks good from that standpoint, but they have insurance for kind of either way of how this goes. And, yeah, I give Bridgewater the advantage right now because of, yes, taking care of the football, more experience, not losing games. But Drew Lock is one of those guys on this list that could make a considerable jump. And I would also say if Drew Lock can show during training camp and preseason that he's got the offense and all of those things, he is the guy that can maximize, I think, their talent on their offensive side of the ball the most. But it's an if. It's a big if. We got to see. There's no excuse for either one of these quarterbacks, whoever starts in Denver, because as we've mentioned a lot over the last 14, 15 months, Denver's stacked on offense. They're stacked. And it's year 2 with Pat Shurmur. The O-line's good. The tight end's good. And the wide receiving core is as good as any in football. So they got to get better results of the quarterback to help their team out.
Put that graphic back up, please, Kristen. The odds provided by PointsBet Sportsbook for the quarterback to take the first snap.
Yeah.
The exact same odds, plus 140 for Lock and Bridgewater. Then there's Brett Rippon at plus 2,000. In between, other, plus 220. plus 220
Right.
is not that much farther from plus 140. Other is Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah.
Isn't other Aaron Rodgers?
Or Deshaun Watson, maybe, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah, one of those two. Right. Other is Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson. And, yeah, I think there's still a lot of people in the NFL that think Denver has their eye on that situation. So there's no doubt about it. So we'll see. They got a good team. They need the quarterbacks to show up.
Other can be anyone. Other can be Chris Sims.
Yeah, well, those odds would be a whole lot lower.
Other can be Brock Osweiler, but you're still in other. I'm in other. Other is anyone.
Yes.
Billions of people are, I always say, take the field. Other has the field of the entire world. Other than Locke, Bridgewater, and Rippon. All right, Jared Goff, down from 24, which some viewed as a diss, a slight, an insult last year. He's down to 31, and those folks who thought it was an insult to be at 24, probably saying, 31. Hey, right now, 31 for Jared Goff is probably the right spot. Chris, I still love the fact that the Rams felt compelled to tuck Goff into the Matthew Stafford trade, so maybe the boss won't realize that we're giving up a first-round pick to get this horrible contract off the books. We've been down this road.
Yeah.
They never should have done it. The guy has, I don't know that regressed is the right word, because I don't think it was him in 2018 when they were a Super Bowl team. It was Todd Gurley. It was Brandon Cooks. It was Robert Woods. It was Cooper Kupp. Jared Goff was just the guy who pulled it all together. Is he going to be able to have any remote degree of success, do you believe, with the Lions this year without the quality of weapons around him that he's enjoyed in L.A.?
You're right. I mean, no Sean McVay. So, I mean, there's a lot of questions there, I think. And I think that Jared Goff is, hanging on to being a starting quarterback by a thread. There's things to like about his game. I know that he is tough. I'm going to give him that. He's played in a lot of big football games, so he's got the moxie of not being, intimidated by any of that either. But there's issues with his game. They're all around. And I'm a guy that, listen, I give experience, a real thought, and it helps in my rankings. And I understand he has some experience. But for a guy that's played in the NFL for 5 years, he doesn't show that type of experience when you watch him on film or do things like that. There is a lack of awareness of situational football at times and what to do. He can have moments of being a poor thrower. He throws a very uncatchable ball, just like we showed on some of those highlights there. It's a knuckle that doesn't spin hard, and it wobbles. Those are hard to catch. He's not the greatest within the pocket. He's not good at all within the pocket, actually, with moving in there. And then, of course, extending plays or scrambling is not one of his things either. He does have a strong arm. He does know how to be a leader to a certain extent, but not going to have a great presence there. So that's where I'm on the fence with a guy like Jared Goff. I have some guys, that, of course, haven't played it down in the NFL yet that are going to be in front of him. But that's where I look at it and go, hey, talent not great for Jared Goff. And the fact that he has the experience and stuff, it doesn't really show all that much. Hey, he's running the 3rd-and-1 bootleg out to the right. And he throws a ball 15 yards down the field into double coverage, and you go, what? You could have just ran for 4 yards and got the first down, and we keep going. Why did you do that? There's too much stuff like that constantly. Or it's a defensive struggle, the game, and all of a sudden he throws a ball into double coverage against the Jets or makes an errant throw to go wait, this is not the right time to make that throw or do those type of things. And that's where he's a little confusing to me as an evaluator.
The other options on the roster, because you said that Jared Goff is hanging on to a starting job by a thread. The problem is Tim Boyle and David Blough. It's either Blau or Blow or Blah.
It's Blau.
I think
yes.
Of the three options, that's right. It's the Blau King. Though I forgot about the Blau King, David Blau. How could I forget? But again, between Blau, Blow, and Blach.
He's a Blau King. You're the Blow Hard. So, yes, there you go.
Senor Blau no es macho, solamente un borracho. But nevertheless, who are they going to bench him for?
No, you're right.
He's safe.
Right.
They didn't draft anybody. Unless they bring someone in via trade or free agency, there's no way Goff's in trouble this year.
No, I don't think so either. We heard the rumors that there might have been some interest in the quarterback with that top 10 pick and all that. I think he was very relieved. He said that after the draft, that it felt good and it showed the team had confidence in him and those type of things. And I understand them going with Jared Goff. They're in a rebuild here, the Detroit Lions. So they paying the guy a little bit and doing that. He has won some football games. They're going to get their team in order before, maybe they address the quarterback situation, or they just want to see what he has. I think Brad Holmes might have some belief in the guy that maybe he can turn things around and all of that type of stuff. So that's where you can go. He's been there. He's done that. He's won some football games. But and he's tough. But the bottom line is the Rams were trying to bench him and not play him for John Wolford. We can't forget that aspect. They thought
that's almost as bad as being benched for David Blau.
Well, that's what so that tells you a little bit too. And you talked about, I don't know if he's regressed. I would argue yes, in ways, yes, I think he has regressed from 2 or 3 years ago. So this is a big year for Jared Goff if he wants to continue to be a starting quarterback.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.